So every time I'd see him, he'd say, "Hey, I was thinking over the weekend that I might do this." And we'd talk about it, and he'd either want to throw out the idea or come up with a different way, or I'd validate what he's thinking. And then he would go out and do it. And his company grew like crazy. Um, he ended up selling it for almost $90 million.
Welcome to the Business Ownership Podcast, brought to you by Awareness Strategies, helping you navigate the waters between entrepreneurship and ownership. Hey there, peeps. This is Michelle Nedelec, and I'm super glad that you're here with us today because I'm here with my most amazing guest, Bob. Bob, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, and thanks for inviting me.
Awesome. So give everybody the highlight of who you are and what you do for business.
Yeah, I'm Bob Carrothers, and I'm a Vistage chair. And most people probably don't know what that is, but Vistage is an international company that puts CEOs and top executives into peer groups. And also offers coaching. We coach alongside of the peer groups. So it's a good chance for them to go to 12 other CEOs and get their input on something they're facing.
Right. We will totally get into what Vistage is and all of that, but in a moment. All right, I just want to back up a little bit. And how did you get into this as your thing?
Well, I owned some companies a long time ago. I've been doing this for almost 29 years.
Nice.
And so I had my businesses, and I was a member of one of these groups. And when I got out of my businesses, sold out of them, I was looking for something else to do. And I reached out to Vistage. I had my ex-chair, like I am, reach out to Vistage to see if they had any openings, and they just happened to be looking for somebody in Denver.
Nice.
So I said I was interested. They called me on the phone. They sent me a plane ticket to fly out to their international conference, which just happened to be going on, and I fell in love with it. So it's a calling.
Right. I
Mhm.
love it. Now, I am familiar with Vistage, but for those who aren't, can you give us, the 30-second explanation of who they are, what they do, and all that?
Okay. Well, Vistage is headquartered in San Diego. They build peer groups like I said, all over the world. We have about 45,000 participants now. So obviously it works. And like I said, we put CEOs and business executives into peer groups, and they help each other be more successful.
Nice.
And the reason I'm here, I think, is because I have a passion for helping entrepreneurs. That's who I've worked with for 29 years, and I've seen all kinds of things. So I thought I might have some knowledge that upcoming entrepreneurs, early stage entrepreneurs, $100 million seller entrepreneurs might be interested in.
I love it. So you're in the right place. We love helping entrepreneurs grow. So when it comes to Vistage in particular, are there any requirements for getting in? Can any industry join? What are the kind of
Oh, sure, sure.
pillars?
There's no requirements for getting in other than you have to be hungry to learn and to share your knowledge. And you have to be open and just be able to help. And the way to get in is you can reach out to our website, vistage.com, or I'm sure there's a chair like I am in your city or within driving distance, because we're all over the place in Canada and the US. And reach out to a chair and talk to them, and they'll be very happy to come talk to you, and you'll have a conversation and decide if it might be the right thing for you, and if the chair feels you'd be a good fit and with his group or another group, then he will invite you to to either come into his meeting and see what's going on, or just to sign you up.
So entrepreneurialism tends to be a kind of solo adventure. Well,
Yeah.
why is it that peer groups are so effective, and in your experience, what do they bring to the table?
They bring um, uh, a vast amount of knowledge from the members in the group. It's a place where they can go and see they're not the only one having the problems they're having, and ask others for advice, share what they're thinking, share what they might want to do, and get input as to whether that's the right answer or not. Or if you tweaked it, what would be a better way to do it? And all this just combines to help the entrepreneur grow faster. It's like they have an advisory board.
Mhm.
And these groups get very close too. So they work on not just business, but on personal things.
As well. Nice. So when you say peer groups, are there multiple groups within each city that can identify kind of if one group doesn't work, you can go to another one, or how does that work?
Well, absolutely. In Denver, I think we have about, I'm guessing, close to 70 groups. And
Wow.
so here there's a whole bunch of different chairs, a whole bunch of different styles that lead these groups. In Calgary, where you are, I know we have several groups, several chairs. So
Beautiful.
it's pretty much all over.
So what differentiates the groups typically?
Oh, that's a really good question. Each group has its own personality because of the chair that's leading it and because of the members of it. So every group's going to look a little different. It's just how it's built.
Nice. So if somebody's interested, they get a hold of chairs and they get to kind of visit the groups or see the groups or at least talk to the chairs and there's a placement process, or how does that work?
Yeah, each chair has a different way of doing it. So you just have to talk to the chair.
Nice.
Yeah.
So can you give us an example of a Cinderella story or a client that's done really well in this role?
Okay. I've got several. Um, I had a fellow that was a circuit board manufacturer, and he figured out a different way to manufacture circuit boards,
Mhm.
and he was just rocking it. And he came in, and when he started, he was a company of about, I don't know, 50 people and doing about $4 to $5 million in sales. And he was just awesome how he would take the learnings from the group and do something with it. And every time I'd see him, I do coaching sessions with each member. So every time I'd see him, he'd say, "Hey, I was thinking over the weekend that I might do this." And we'd talk about it, and he'd either want to throw out the idea or come up with a different way, or I'd validate what he's thinking. And then he would go out and do it. And his company grew like crazy. He ended up selling it for almost $90 million.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I love those kind of stories.
Yeah.
So when people are joining us, obviously it's peer group because the other members of the group are kind of in similar either businesses and or levels of business or stages of business, something so that you're getting information that's apt to you, and the chair typically are more experienced and act in that mentorship role, or can that vary too?
No, the chair acts as a mentor. Like I said, I didn't really say it, but each chair coaches the members too, in the CEO level. Spends 90 minutes to 2 hours with them each month. And so they get that. We also bring in outside speakers from all over the place on all kinds of topics, and they're experts in their field. So you get that knowledge, and it all combines to help make you successful. And the groups, there's really no way to describe the groups other than they're probably as diverse as possible, many different industries, um, uh, many different ways of looking at things, because we want them as diverse as possible, both gender diverse, age diverse, um, racial diverse, so that we get different ways of looking at things. And it helps.
Beautiful. I've been a part of roundtables before where there is that diversity, and they set them up such that everybody has somebody in a different role and a different perspective. So I'm familiar with the benefits of having that, but kind of what has been your experience with that? What have you seen is the difference between having somebody that's kind of all the same and having that diversity?
Well, here's another story. The first CEO that I signed to be a member in my group way back in 96 was an eye doctor. And he was running a pretty big practice. And he joined, and he was concerned that nobody else would be able to help him because who knows about being an eye doctor. And as the group grew, he was having trouble running. He was having trouble with life balance, frankly. He was doing all the accounting for the firm. He was doing all of the HR. He was doing everything. And he would come and complain to the group. And one day, one of the members said, "We're tired of complaining. You're complaining. Why don't you hire a business manager?" And I just let one go. That's awesome. Why don't you interview him? And so he did, and he hired the business manager, and he ended up with many different locations. He got huge in Denver and sold the company and rode off into the sunset.
I love it. So,
Yeah.
in your experience, do people just kind of have to get to that pain point where they just get sick and tired of being sick and tired, and it's like, okay, fine, I'll go and I'll build a business that can run without me? Or is there kind of a special kind of magic, something that just, has always been there? What's your experience with that?
It doesn't have to be pain point. It could be, I'm thinking about putting in a bonus system, and I don't know how to do this, and I'd like your input and what your experience has been doing this. And we'll have a great discussion. And then it'll give them an idea of what they have to do and where they should start and what they shouldn't do, for sure. And it helps them get started. And we do that all the time.
What is one of your, I guess, most intriguing businesses that you've helped work with, or one of them that you just thought, wow, that is a little left field? Is there any of those, or are they all accountants, lawyers, and
No, they're
familiar
not.
business?
No, that, um, sure. The one, several I'm thinking, one of them is an in-home healthcare provider. And they work strictly with really highly disabled people. And they set up a way that with the government and got it approved to where they could hire the parents of the patient and pay them to provide service to their child. And it just was incredible. And the thing was growing like crazy. They ended up getting bought for a whole bunch of money. And it's that's one of them. Another one was uh, uh, um, gosh, what is it? Um, a franchisor of solar salons, a franchisor of salons, hair salons, and it's based on people buying or leasing a space, fixing it up, dividing it into a whole bunch of cubes, and then the hairdressers can come in and have their own little office type. It's costs them a lot less money. They don't have to worry about anything. They don't have to be tied to another, renting a chair somewhere, and they can develop their own business. And it's fabulous to watch that happen. I've seen a lot. Another one was developed a home cleaning product that became very famous. And when I met him, he was doing the product in a little warehouse, and he had a little pump that we pump out of 55-gallon barrel drums into plastic bottles, and then they'd put the labels on them by hand, and he'd ship them off to the home shopping network to sell them. And they started selling so many of them, they couldn't handle the volume. So he got a company to help him do it. He outsourced it, and he grew. And then he developed a powdered product to go into washing machines to help whiten clothes. That one took off, and then he ended up in Walmart and all over the place. And it just came out of a little one-room warehouse thing and sold for about $300 million.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty good, huh?
That's brilliant. I love it. I love hearing these stories. So let's kind of back up for these people and our listeners. And what kind of problems you mentioned, kind of having that work-life balance or wanting to build the business and kind of not being sure how, or HR. What are kind of some of the struggling issues that people have that they look at Vistage as the help or the support that they're looking for?
A lot of things we face are hiring. Everybody's looking for good employees right now. It's just huge demand, and they may not know how to ask the right questions when they hire somebody. They may not even have written a job description for the person they're going to hire. And so they keep having bad luck hiring. So they come to the group and they say, God, he says, or she says, I can't hire for ding dong. You help me, guys. And so they'll say, well, you're having trouble. Call this guy. He has this assessment that will help. He will run assessments on your candidates. We brought a speaker in that talked about interviewing, how to do proper interviews and what to look for. And by gosh, it helped all the members of the group because they all improved their hit ratio with new employees.
That's brilliant. So I know our listeners are going to want more from you. How did they start that journey with you?
They can reach me on LinkedIn for sure. Just search for me, I'm there. And then I have an email address, B Carrothers, BCarrothers @VistageChair, VISTAGE chair CHAIR.com. And that's it.
Nice. We will, of course, have all of Bob's links in the show notes. So go ahead and scroll down, click on the links, open up in a new browser because we're not done yet. So, Bob, I get to ask you, at what point in life did you know that you were a special kind of crazy enough to think that you could become an entrepreneur?
I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I think I became crazy enough when I got fired from a job and went to another company, and we were doing well. And then the controller embezzled all their money, and that put us out of business. And I finally said, I don't want to do this for other people. I don't want to have someone else control my life. So that's when I started my first company.
Very cool. And what was that company, out of curiosity?
It was a meat trading company. We bought and sold meat guts, lungs, livers, kidneys, spleens, all over the board. And we would go to a packing house and buy their entire production of their lungs, or we'd buy a quarter's worth, or we'd just buy a truckload. And we were able to consolidate those numbers into selling to the big pet food canners because they would rather deal with one seller than 50, and so we grew it. It probably went to about 25 million in sales. We were moving about 60,000 tons of meat a year. And it was a kick.
Right? How did you get into that as a business? That is by far the most interesting one I've heard so far. And I've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, you asked me for interesting business.
Right.
When I got out of college, I went to work for Montfort, a packing house up in Greeley. It's now JS something, I don't know. Yep. And I sold their meat byproducts for them. And so I got a knowledge of that. And then I got hired away in San Francisco to buy and sell beef tallow because they exported a lot. And that's the company I got fired from because I was a terrible employee. I should have been fired. And it just woke me up. And I got more knowledge of trading. And when I decided to start my own company, that was where I went to.
I love it. So in your experience building $1 million or $10 million business, what do you think it takes? And does somebody have to see that at the beginning, or is it something that builds?
It takes hard work.
Mhm.
A lot of people think, well, I'll start my own business and I'll be able to work when I want to, and I'll be able to make all this money and I'll sell it for $4 billion. I hear a lot of kids just want to start a business, go find a bunch of investors and then grow it and sell it for massive amounts of money. And the odds of that happening is about as good as me becoming a Chicago Bull. You know, it's it's not good. The odds are really slim. So there's rules for doing this, and hard work is the first one. Another one is never run out of cash when you're running your business. You can go borrow all the money from your grandmother and your uncle and all that to get you started. Run your credit cards up and find that one day you don't have enough money to make your payroll because you haven't been watching your cash and where it is and what uses of it you have. Another one is your people are everything. You know, your people are your biggest asset and you have to treat them well. You want to build a strong culture. You want to have a strong vision for where you're going, and you have to take care of your people, or you'll have high turnover, and that's really expensive. And so that's the main thing, take care of your people. Um, there's a bunch of them. Know your numbers. You got to know your numbers, or you're flying in the dark. You got to have a good key performance indicators that help you see the future. Where are you going? And because you can start tracking different things that are happening and get an inkling of where you are and where you're going to be. Just there's lots of things I would tell a startup. Don't get crazy and take your grandmother's money and go get a really fine, fancy office with a lot of cool furniture. You're going to need that cash. Believe me, you're going to need the cash. And don't waste it on frivolous things. Don't go get a new company car. Um, just a lot of little things that make all the difference. And be willing to work. It's going to take a lot of hours.
Absolutely. Well, and I think it comes back to why Vistage is so important for people to understand that sometimes you can be, working like a dog all week long and knowing that your money is going out the window, going, but that's not really the perspective that you need. And having those extra set of eyes on it is,
Right.
yeah, I get it. And what if you did it this way? How much easier would that be, or smarter, or faster, or just a different way of looking at it? Because I think a lot of people get in trouble thinking that they know their numbers. And it's like, yeah, I know my numbers. I'm losing money every month. That's not knowing your numbers and using them.
When are you going to be out of cash?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that one.
I hear the cutest one. Profit is that thing that keeps my hope going that I can stay in business next month.
That's right.
We make it sound awful, but it can be a lot of fun and it can be a lot of very rewarding. So
yeah.
What's your favorite part of the entrepreneurial spirit?
Their courage. I've watched people go borrow family money, go get a second on their house or get a third on their house just because they have a dream and they believe it will work. But often because you have a dream and you think it'll work, it may not work. So it's just advisable to get in a peer group. I don't care if it's Vistage or whatever, just another set of eyes on what you're doing and accept their advice.
I
You're
love it.
going to learn it. You're going to love a ton. Learn a
Bo-
ton.
Bob, you've been absolutely fabulous. Any last words for our peeps?
Entrepreneurs are the everything to our countries. You know, they're the guys that make the country strong. And they are the people that sacrifice a lot to make it happen. And we need to take care of them. You know, make it as easy for somebody to start a company as possible. But you got to know the rules. Make them take a test, I guess, before you help them out.
I love it. You've been absolutely fabulous, Bob. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it, and I know how valuable it is.
All right. Thank you very much for having me. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Peeps, this is Michelle Nedelec. Thank you for being here with us today. Be sure to subscribe to the show and invite your friends. We'd love helping entrepreneurs grow.
Are you running a business over 7 figures but still struggling with technology headaches? Pay attention, you do not want to miss this offer. This podcast episode is brought to you by Awareness Strategies, who is offering a custom-built digital adoption roadmap for anyone running a business over 7 figures who's wanting to grow their business in the next 5 years. And it's not just a roadmap, they offer full implementation as well if that scares the out of you. Check out awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap for more details today. The link's in the show's notes. Don't regret not doing this. Do it now. That's awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap.